Hey everybody, Scott Mann here with the HQ. You can find me at noisechop.com. I'm going to do a quick video that is sort of similar to the other StreamDiffusion video that I did, which was called Magic Mirror. But we're going to look at building the entire network together and doing the installation together from scratch. And this is the whole network right down here. So you can see that it's not very big. I'll walk through the installation with you, and then I will show you how to get this working, and one other trick to do like an AI drawing approach, which is very quick and simple and fun. You may have seen them online. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is get your hands on the StreamDiffusionTD talks by DotSimulate. So you're going to go to your favorite search engine and search for DotSimulate Patreon. There it is. And you have to join for $5 a month. You can join for $5 to buy the talks and then unjoin. But it's a pretty great community here on the Discord server. It's this guy right here. You can get tech support. There are a lot of interesting people here doing a lot of interesting things with not only StreamDiffusion, but Stable Diffusion, Comfy UI, and other things. And it's a great community. To download the talks, you can scroll down to where it says download talks, and the top one is StreamDiffusion. You recently updated it in February, so you could read through this. We're only doing this on a PC. I think it can be done on a Mac, Apple Silicon, but I'm on a Windows, so I'm doing this for Windows. Sorry, Mac users, but it can be done. And if you can figure out the installation, then you could certainly follow this tutorial. So here's the download. You download it right out of Patreon, and then you're going to find it appear in your downloads folder. I'd recommend you move it into your talks folder, but up to you. Start a new TouchDesigner network. I'm going to delete this, close that, and then we're going to drop that talks. I'm on one older version, one generation behind TouchDesigner. It seems to work fine. So this is the blank empty talks, and you're a long way from using it still. Go to the install tab, and this is where you're going to run your installation. You can do the whole installation right from inside the talks once you get the prerequisites done, and there are quite a few. So let's just, I just pulsed the view installation guide. And here it is, previously installed. If you have it previously installed, you could just drag your StreamDiffusion folder in here, but we're gonna do it from scratch. The prerequisites, read through these pretty carefully. You need Windows 10 or 11, an NVIDIA graphics card. Python 3.11.9, he has the links in the installation guide. I would, if you aren't running system-wide Python, obviously TouchDesigner has its own Python interpreter, so this will not mess with your TouchDesigner Python. This is your system-wide Python. And you really should, it might work if you have a slightly different version and you can try it, but I would recommend that you follow these to the letter. So I'm gonna open a command prompt real quick and just type Python -- version. And I've got the right version. If you see something else in here, then I would reinstall it. So go to the downloader, find 3.11.9 and install that. You could either uninstall your previous version or go into your if you install 3.11.9 and you come in here and you type in Python -- version and you see some other version, then you need to get rid of that previous version. So what you do is go into your search bar and type environment. and find your environment variables. And you go to environment variables and remove any paths to old versions of Python. You might find one in here as well. If you're not getting the version that you just installed, this is where your problem is. Okay, so I'll let you chase that down. ChatGPT can be helpful figuring this out. One very important thing when you go to install Python, you want to check the radio box that says add to system path or something, add to system variables or something. There's one radio box when you go to install it. So just make sure it's checked, and then you'll at least get the path in here and not have to manually add it. You can manually add it after the fact by finding your Python install, which is going to be in users, your name, app data, local programs. You can see what the path is here from your old Python. But it's nice not to have to do that. So that's all for that. You can also check your CUDA version, which is the next thing on the list, by typing in nvcc-version, and it'll show you what CUDA version you're running. I have 11.8, which is a prerequisite. 12.1 also works. This is not something to mess around with. Get one of these two versions of CUDA. You can get it from the NVIDIA website, and there's a link to it here. And then finally, you need to have Git. Most of you should have Git, but if you don't have Git installed on your computer, you're going to need it for all kinds of reasons if you're doing a lot of different things, but AI, generative artwork in general, everything, excuse me, is based on cloning Git repos. So get your prerequisites in order, and then you're ready to go. So download the StreamDiffusion repository. How do we do that? First thing you want to do is make a base folder. So I'm just going to do this from inside the talks. I do this sort of thing on my F drive. So you can see I have two StreamDiffusion folders here. I'm just going to make a new folder, call it StreamDiffusion Central or whatever you want to name it. This is just to create a box for all of your StreamDiffusion stuff. And then double click it, get inside of it, and choose select folder. Now you have a base folder. There is nothing inside of it. Check base folder. It needs to be StreamDiffusion repo. So the way you do that is just come to the next step, pulse this only once, and apparently nothing will happen. But just wait, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. It is downloading in the background. Don't click it again. So you'll see this switches to install. So you're ready for the next step, but you can go into your StreamDiffusion repository. I was StreamDiffusion Central was the one, and see that it has downloaded a lot of the bones of the software. So that's just the first step. Once that's done, pulse install VNV, which is your virtual environment, and all requirements. And this will download a lot of large models and stuff. The whole folder is about 14 gigs. And right now it's almost nothing. So this is the bigger step. Pulse that. You should see it kick open. Okay, so it'll give you a couple prompts. Detected CUDA version 11.8. Good. StreamDiffusion recommends 12.1 or 11.8. Continue. Python version, blah, blah, blah. Installing packages for Stream. Do you want to proceed? Yes, we've already checked on these. Install. It'll kick open a new command prompt and show you what's going on with the installation. And this will, I have a fairly fast internet connection. This will go pretty quickly. Few gigabytes. Okay, when you get to this stage, press any key to continue. This step is finished. It takes a few minutes. You should have seen it run through downloading all of this various stuff in this matrix-like command prompt. Okay, so the third thing you need to do is install TensorRT. You pulse this. I accidentally pulsed it when I wasn't recording. Kicks open another command prompt, and you'll see it bringing in TensorRT. Okay, so now you have a loaded StreamDiffusionTD top. I'm just going to put a video device in here. I use the NVIDIA broadcast software, which we can look at real quick. NVIDIA broadcast. This is you can download this from NVIDIA. Look at your video. And what's nice about this is it does a really nice job of background removal. And I kind of like that because if you have a static background, when you feed it into Stable Diffusion, it'll just kind of render the same thing there all the time. So you could replace it with noise or whatever. But plug that in. You should see 3 check marks on your installation here, and then go to the settings page. You're using the SD Turbo model. Briefly about models. Models are like the brains of any diffusion engine. And this model is SD Turbo, which is a heavily pruned model to make it really, really fast. If you're used to running Flux or any of even SDXL, even of the fancier models, like the artwork isn't quite as amazing and detailed, but those models run about 1 image every 20 or 30 seconds, and this one is like 800 times as fast. It can do 30 individual frames per second, which is kind of mind-blowing. Turn on TensorRT before you kick open StreamDiffusion. Once you do that, you hit pulse. That's your accelerator. Without it, you're only going to get about 15 frames a second. With it, you can get up to 30. And then you hit start stream. Yet again, it will open a command prompt in the background, and this is kind of where Stable Diffusion lives. Now, this is sort of the back end where TouchDesigner is streaming the video over to StreamDiffusion, and then StreamDiffusion sends it back to TouchDesigner, and that's what's going on under the hood in this talks. This is on your first run of StreamDiffusion, and it actually kind of completes the installation of TensorRT. When you do your first run, it won't take this long every time you kick it open. So when you see this, this is the place where you might be inclined to close down the installation because you're thinking it's crashed. It hasn't crashed. Wait it out. Okay. Hopefully everybody got to this point with the default fancy banana. I, with a 3090, am getting 35 frames per second, which is pretty amazing fast, even though I'm running OBS in the background. So right off the bat, I'm going to put in my sort of favorite prompt for this. Dollies I like, and is one of the few artistic styles that SD Turbo will recognize. This is not quite like Midjourney, where you can reference a particular artist and it'll capture that artist's style or steal it, whatever your ethical views on this is. I'm going to say pop art, dolly style, masterpiece, colorful, brilliant, color, fish, birds, octopus. Okay. So right now I'm running it at 512 by 512, and I'm feeding it whatever this is running at, 1920 by 1080. So we need to fix that. This thing much prefers to run at 512 by 512. That's its fastest setting, so that's what we're going to run on because it's fast. You can do other resolutions in here, but you'll lose performance. So just be aware of that. And I need to interject. I was cutting this down and realized that I forgot to say something. Any resolution that you want to use with StreamDiffusion has to be divisible by 64, or it really should be, or it won't work as well. So 768, 1024, just anything divisible by 64 on both dimensions. Just keep that in mind. So it's not looking that good yet. The first thing I'm going to do is create a constant. chop. And this is so you can change your resolution in the future if you want. Add another channel. We'll call it width and height. And this is just going to be 512 by 512. So that you have a central resolution parameter. I'm going to pause the server right now, stop server. So now it is no longer running, but it'll kick up faster on its second go around. So I'm just going to, I guess I'll call this resolution. Resolution. Oh my God. Boom. Okay. Drop it in there. Width and height. And then I'm going to stick a fit in here. Fit. And we're going to fit outside and change the resolution of this guy to our resolution. There we go. Give us a little more space here. And now we can kick this back on. Remember to have TensorRT running. You can start the stream up again. It should kick open faster. It doesn't, after you've run it for the first time, it should have done a more complete installation. Let's see how long this one takes. Boom, running, okay. So let me get a null going here so we can look at what's happening. Review that. Okay, so something going. It's backwards. So the first thing I need to do to make it a mirror image of me is put in a flip. Flip it on the x-axis. So a little more space here. Now you can see I've got kind of a mirror image going in there, right? Your most important parameter in StreamDiffusion is your step count. And in Comfy UI, usually like more steps means more creativity. It kind of does more diffusion. This is sort of inverted here. The more steps you put in, the harder it will work to make it look like the original image. So this right here is actually a reconstructed version of me. Like it has run through and recreated me. So if I turn this down a little bit, it gives me like sort of a creepy almost version of myself. I think it's trying to make me look a little bit like Salvador Dali. So this is sort of like the magic mirror, but I tend to run this if you want to do something really abstract, you know, between 10 and 15. If you push it too hard, it'll make it humanoid, which you may not want if you want something kind of weirder, which is what I'm going for here. So abstract magic mirror. The next thing that I like to do, you do not have to. You can turn this tutorial off and run whatever you want into it, mixing videos and comping and doing whatever up to your own creativity. I'm going to show you what I like to do with it, or what I probably would do if I was doing this as an installation. So one thing you'll notice is that I'm wearing a solid colored shirt. If you were wearing a patterny shirt, it would have more to work with, but I'm going to add pattern by dropping a threshold in here. And just mess with the threshold a little bit. So you kind of want to get like a white version of yourself, all white. I'm going to back it off quite a bit. And then I'm going to add feedback. Now, kind of interesting, black and white sort of, you can put sketch, watercolor, photograph. It'll do photographic. Have fun with the prompts. You can pause the doc and have fun putting interesting prompts in there. I'm going to build a quick feedback loop. So I'm going to insert a base into this chain right here. So I have a place to put feedback because I'm going to use feedback a couple times. And I would recommend that everybody have a basic feedback talks that you save for yourself. So I'm just going to show you how to build that real quick. Oops. Feedback. You've seen it 100 times probably. I'm going to build it a little very quickly with you and show you some things that maybe you haven't caught. The first thing I'm going to stick in here is a level. And the reason for that is that if you work with 8-bit color, I guess I'll leave it like this for now and show you what happens if you've ever run into this problem. I like to create a null here, a feedback. Okay, and then we're going to insert an add, and then another level, and we're going to run that into here. And then we're going to drag our add back onto the feedback top. So that's established our base feedback loop. And now, since I haven't modified the opacity, it's just leaving forever what the previous frames had. So in your level, you just need to go in and turn the opacity down to like 0.95 maybe. So this is the level, not your introductory level, your level inside of the feedback loop. And now you should get some trails. I think my camera coming in has sort of a low frame rate, which is why you can see stepping. But and then if you'll notice, let's see, is this still 8-bit? Yeah, you get, see how it may be kind of hard to see, but you'll see how there's this permanent footprint gets left behind. And that's because it's working with 8-bit color. This is true black over here, right? But you're going to get left with kind of an in-between value unless you use 16-bit color. So go to your level before going into your feedback loop and tell it to use 16-bit color. And then you actually, this is still seeing 8-bit. You need to switch this reset on and off. That's the only way to get it to change its color format. Feedbacks are kind of touchy and they need to be reset pretty often. So now you should see 16-bit color coming off of your add. And let's see, if we pulse the feedback, you should see that my feedback comes back to true black. And then the other thing on your input level, turn the opacity down because it's just burning really bright right now. You can turn it down quite a lot and you'll get, this is sort of up to your own taste, but I go down sometimes around 0.1 and that gives me nice trails. And what that does to your input is just kind of smooth it out so it leaves a little trail and then it's a little bit less herky-jerky, okay? So I'm going into my feedback. After my feedback, I like to put a limit because since it's feeding back on top of itself, it will give you values higher than 1. And just as a habit coming out of a feedback, I like to put a limit. So I just clamp these values between 0 and 1. So there you go. And now we still have the solid color problem, and what we're going to do is multiply this times a noise. So we put in a multiply and stick a noise down here. And let's get the resolution correct in our noise. I don't know how that got clicked, but I'm going to multiply this. So already you're going to see more detail. And if you decrease the period of your noise, you're going to get even more detail. Like if I give it a really really granular noise, you'll see that that Stable Diffusion has more texture to work with. Now you can just turn monochrome off and have it be colorful for you. Right, so you'll get more detail that way. What I like to do, so that I'm sort of more included in the creative process, is to put in a lookup. So right here, I'm going to insert a lookup, and then a ramp. Put that in here. So right now it's just giving us black and white because my ramp is black and white. But what it's doing is looking at each pixel and seeing what its grayscale value is and picking a value through the middle of this ramp. So if it's now, it's just giving us back the original color that went in. You might start with black, but now you can add some color to your noise. And this is kind of like whatever you want. I'll make it go to purple and then green. And maybe I'll end up with, I don't know, light blue. Let's try that. So this is just a custom color picker. You can use whatever colors you want. But if you are doing something oceanic, let's say you might want to have a lot of blues and greens. If you're doing pop art, you might want to do really saturated colors or whatever. So this is just a recommendation. You don't have to do it. And then because it's fun, I like to put in, I like to animate the noise a little bit. I'm going to do it times 0.1, I guess. 0.1. ABS time.seconds. And that's going to animate your noise a little bit. Is this really? Yeah, 512. And that's just so it just keeps it kind of moving a little bit. It's just always doing something, even if you're holding still. You may not like that and don't want to do it. And then I would recommend adding yet another noise. In fact, whoops, undo that. I'm going to just copy this noise and paste it because I got my resolution in there already. And then I'm going to run this into here, and the output should be input times noise. Leave this at monochrome, and you can fiddle with these values however you want. Then I like to put this to a higher period, like maybe around 2. That might be moving a little too fast. Let's make this times 0.05. And this just gives it some like bigger trends to work with. So you'll see more transformation. I mean, you could even run this period higher. Let's try a different seed. So you get these clouds. Fiddle around with this. It just kind of changes the look and feel of it. If you increase the amplitude, you'll get heavier difference fields, right? You'll get bigger, darker blotches. But I don't know. I think that's kind of fun. Then you can do a little bit on the post-production side. So just copy your feedback, paste it here. And what I'd really recommend that you do is add some custom components so that you can control what's going on inside of this, and then save this as your basic feedback talks. But now you can see it's a little washed out, and this is why we have our introductory level, because as it's feeding back, the color is building up, right? So now with color, I need to drop this opacity level going into my feedback a little more even, because you can see if this is high, it just gets washed out, right? Your colors just become white. So I'm even going a little less than 0.1 here. And why are we doing this? Because that sort of jerky quality that it gets. Now you can see it's even smoother using feedback both on the input side and on the output side. And then you can add an NVIDIA upscaler. It looks like, this is a lie. Total GPU memory. I think StreamDiffusion uses about 7 gigabytes of your GPU RAM. This is just showing us, I think, what TouchDesigner is using. But I'm running a 3090 here, and I still have plenty of room to add an expensive top, which is the NVIDIA upscaler. So NVIDIA upscaler does not like 16-bit color. So I don't know. I'm just going to stick a resolution here. Oops, not a reorder. Undo. Resolution. I'm not resizing it. I'm just using to kick this back to 8-bit color. NVIDIA Upscaler is now happy. And, you know, you can push this upscale 4. And if you look at this before and after the upscaler, you can see that the upscaler really gets rid of the pixelation. It really adds a lot of detail. It's not perfect. It's still a little pixelated in places, but you can really see that the one on the left, which is after the upscaler, looks a lot better, right? And that's the whole thing for this one. Now I'm going to just do a quick like drawing version of this, which is another fun thing for an installation that you can do. I don't need to see this anymore. So this is probably a review. I'm going to do a mouse in. I'm just going to copy this twice and then get rid of the TX in one and the TY in the other. Whoops. Yeah, I want TX in the top one and TY in the bottom one. Okay, so I've got one mouse in that gets my mouse position left and right, and one that gives me up and down, y-axis. So we're going to plug these guys into a math to rearrange them. Math. That's my X. Ultimately, what we're going to do is plug this into a circle. So maybe I'll just do that now. I'll drop a null here. And let's drop a circle top like that. I'm going to get the resolution on my circle to be matching everybody else. Boom. Boom. And let's turn the radius down. I'm going to bring it like all the way down to like 0.03. And then drop your X coordinate on the center X. This is the center of your circle, right? So now the circle is following at least the X coordinate. You can see that when X gets to 0.5, that's when it's at the far right side of the image. So we want to rearrange this in our math. Go to the range. So it's really going from 1 to -1 should really be going from -0.5 to +0.5. And this could be different depending on your, so just figure out where you want that to land. So I just kind of gave it half its range. It actually looks like the Y is pretty close already. I think I could just drop a null there without a rearrange, and I'm going to put that on the the Y coordinate. So now you can see that I've got a circle which is following the location of my mouse. And I'm actually just going to move these guys ahead a little bit right here. I'm just going to use all these same tricks. I'm going to run this circle, the output of this circle right into my feedback. And now I have a circle with a trail. Everybody dig that? I'm going to actually crank up my feedback opacity a little bit. I might go all the way to like 0.995. So it leaves sort of a longer line behind it. And then you can see I'm multiplying it times noise. So I'm using this as kind of a marker, right? Let's look at the final output of this guy. Actually, let's just blow it right on up so you can see. Now, you know, what a great painter I am. So you can see what's happening, right? I'm just converting this magic marker into a paintbrush, which it then converts into some artwork based on my prompt. I'm going to turn up the step count a little bit so that you can, and then you know what else we could do is take a select, drop a select top, drop your circle in it and come down here. Let's put it before the upscaler. I'm just going to add it in. So you can kind of see what's going on. So I just added the circle so that I can see what I'm drawing. I have like a cursor kind of. Let's just pop that open. Still looks kind of pixelated to me, doesn't it? Well, I guess that's okay. Maybe if I put a little softness on the circle, that would be good. Circle, just a little smidge of softness. Give it a soft edge. And now let's see what we got going here. One thing you might want to do is remove this noise from the network, because this is sort of a different approach, because it's breaking up the line. You kind of want it to have a nice contiguous line. Let's blow that up and see if that's working. That looks a little better. So it is recomposing the entire image. You don't necessarily need to have your noise animated. If I turned off the animation of this noise, I go to the transform, just shut that down. It'll give you a more stable image if you don't like that constant morphing. I mean, because it is redoing the composition of the entire image, this is looking a little bright, isn't it? Well, I'll just finish what I was going to say, because it is every frame, it is looking at the entire composition of the image. So it'll always be changing a little bit, but it'll give you more stability in the areas that you aren't messing with if you turn that noise off. So what I think is happening is the feedback is kind of washing it out a little too much or something. Like, I'm going to go into my feedback and turn down the input opacity a little more. Just so that it doesn't get too washed out. You'll just get a better preservation of your colors that way. So let's take a look at this again. Very fun. That's your new version of the Magic Mirror and a quick little AI drawing program. I hope this was fun and interesting for everybody. If you have any questions or problems, you can leave me a comment and I will try to answer them for you. In the meantime, have fun working with StreamDiffusionTD in TouchDesigner, and big thanks and shout out to DotSimulate for making these amazing tools for us to play with inside of Touch. Over and out.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like our YouTube content, I highly recommend you check out the interactive and immersive HQ Pro. The HQ Pro is the only comprehensive educational resource and community for immersive design, TouchDesigner, and creative tech pros. In the HQ Pro trainings, we cover almost any topic you can think of, and we go way more in depth than we do in our YouTube tutorials. We have a private group where Matthew Reagan, myself, and our other industry veteran and pioneer teachers answer your questions every single day. If that sounds cool, click the link in the description to learn more. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more free TouchDesigner and immersive content.